Well, good morning. So this is TJ with RV on Purpose, and today we're going to be draining the oil in our generator and getting it ready for the season. On board here on this bus we have a Kubota, diesel Kubota 4-cylinder. So it's kind of like a tractor motor, but I'll tell you what, there's nothing that this thing can't run when on the road. We've been able to run both central air units that are on this thing at the same time, have all the lights going, TVs, I mean, microwave, coffee, everything. I mean, there, you name it, it can run it. So it's pretty neat. This is it right here. So what I got to do is I got to release these these kind of like straps, but this thing is so heavy, it's so heavy duty that it's going to take both hands for me to get this thing out. So I'm going to do that real quick and then I'll be right back with you. So now I've got the generator out. It's on this rack, which is kind of neat. It just slides in and slides out, and it has these lockers that lock it into place. They're very heavy duty. Is when you're going down the road, you don't want this thing flying out of this this bay door. So it's pretty neat setup, and tell you what, it's a good running machine. If you've got a diesel Kubota, anything that is heavy duty is going to have one of these motors in it. So I'm going to show you how to change the oil. We're going to also change the air filter, and then we're gonna change the fuel filters as well on this thing today. All right, so before we drain the oil on this, we are going to start it up, let it run a little bit. So on this particular generator, there's like a little preheat here, and so we're gonna press that in, let it preheat a little bit. Any diesel motor, if it's cold out, is going to need to be preheated, either with glow plugs or some kind of little heater or something like that. So then we're going to fire her up and let it run a little bit to get the oil all nice and hot, and that way when it drains out nice. All right, so now I've got it warmed up a little bit. Didn't do too much, you know, it's not like crazy hot, so it won't be too bad. But there's actually 2 drain plugs on the bottom of this oil pan. There's one in the front there, and then there's one back here. I think it's better just to use the one that's back here. It's probably easier for it to go into the pan and whatnot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get ready to put the pan. I'm gonna put the pan kind of underneath that area, so that way we catch it all. And then make sure that my ratchet here is set up to loosen, which it is. It's got the right socket on there. So I'm gonna slowly start to loosen that. And then now it's loose. So now by hand, you wanna have gloves when you do this, and you know it's gonna come out a lot. So you wanna just make sure that you have everything. I kind of adjust this camera here. You want to make sure that you're not going to get it all over. And so this pan is just kind of a cheap pan, but I kind of usually like to, I let it drop in there and then I'll just get it out later, which isn't a big deal, but you know, let's see here. It must be a long one. I've never changed the oil in this yet, so this is all rather new. I'm gonna try to save, I'm not gonna try to drop this in. There we go. That way I don't have to fish around in the oil later. So I'm just gonna set that thing right there and let that thing drain out. Now to help it go a little better, I'm going to open up this dipstick here just so that way we can have a little bit of airflow going. So that's a good idea to do that, just to help the oil to drain well. And see, that helps it drain a lot better there. So it's kind of uneven ground, so just moved it to where it's a little better for that. So now we're just gonna let that drain, and then I'll take us to the next step. So while that's draining, there's an air filter back here. You can see a clip on the top and then a clip on the bottom. And I'm gonna take that out and then see how that air filter looks, and then pick up a new one because I'm sure it probably needs it. All right, so now the oil is almost drained. I do need to get a bigger pan for this and the bus, especially if I'm going to be doing it here. There's a lot of oil in these motors, and especially the big diesel on the Detroit diesel for the bus, but because that holds 8 gallons. This I'll have to look again before I fill it, but I think this is like 4 or 5 quarts. I don't think it's that much, but it might be more. So I'm gonna look into that. But here's the oil filter. So you just need a good oil filter wrench to get on there. And you wanna do this with the pan under it, but since I've got dirt under here, I'm not too worried about it, and most of the oil is almost gone. I'm just gonna loosen this a little bit, and just so then I can do it by hand in a moment. That'll help the oil finish draining and all that too. All right, so I got the air filter out here. As you can see, it's very dirty. I don't know if you can see on the inside there how white that is and how black this is. So you definitely want it to be replaced if it's looking like that. And really once a year is good to do anyway. So I'm gonna take this with me into town today and get it replaced. So I just spun on the new filter. The key with this is you want to make sure the old rubber seal is not there. Kind of wipe along the edges. Make sure you put some new oil around the seal before you screw it on, and then I always do it hand tight, but I just make sure it's really tight. You never want it to come off. So, and especially with all the vibrations. So that's that. Put your funnel on there. You just want to be careful, like especially doing this like this. You know, if you start pouring too much, you don't want oil getting all over your motor and everything. So you just want to pour slow. So that's what I'm going to do. You want to use 15W40. You know, you want to use diesel motor oil, heavy duty diesel engine oil. That's the main thing, you know, because regular conventional oil isn't made for diesel motors. So you want to make sure you're using this for long engine life. So we're gonna pour that in there. Now, there might be other spots where you can add oil as well. Like you could add it like down here. There's a spot where you can add it, or the dipstick area, you can add it there. Whatever works. This cap, you know, it says it right on it too. You know, it says that, you know, the kind of oil that it requires. Dipstick that's here, it's kind of a rather, I don't know, weird thing. This thing kind of moves a lot, so I'd really prefer to have a new one, but this is what I have right now, so that's what I'm dealing with. So we're gonna check the level of this. You want to put it all the way in there because you want to get an accurate reading. So I don't even have it on the stick right now. So that means we need more oil, you know? Yeah, because I'm not even on the stick yet. So I'll have to do that. So I'm not going to run it right now. It's actually going to be raining here today, possibly. So we're going to be putting this away, and then we got to go do some work over at the the church, and then I'll buy some later tonight and then bring some more back and then fire her up for the first time. All right, cool.